So for today, we're going to do now it's not going to be 1x squared. It's going to be a number there. And that makes it more complicated. So we're going to take 2 days on this lesson. And actually, see how many, I only have 10 slides, so we don't have a lot. But I'm going to give some homework, which is on the adding and subtracting, to kind of review for the quiz. Right. So last class we did when a equals 1, then that's what I call personally, it's not in any book, simple quadratic trinomial. Right? If the a does not equal 1, it's not simple anymore. It's going to be more difficult. If you didn't find the last one difficult, you'll probably find this one difficult. But it's doable. We good? Okay. So when we factor this, we know that we're going to end up with one set of parentheses and another set of parentheses. It will be a binomial times a binomial in the end. Okay. We know that when we multiply the first terms, we're going to get 2x squared. And we multiply the last terms, we're going to get 3. All right. So this first method, which is really the one they show in the book, is really guess and check. And when the numbers that you're multiplying to equal are prime numbers or don't have many factors, it's not that hard to kind of just guess what numbers ought to be there. And you check it by foiling, by just seeing that it would work if you foiled it. So like 2 is a prime number. It's positive. Let's just say that we always expect the leading numbers are going to be positive. So we know that it's got to start with a 2x times an x, right? Unless we go to fractions, and we don't have to use fractions ever, then this will start as 2x and x. You know, when I FOIL that, I would get 2x squared. Okay, what are the factors of 3? Okay, it could be positive 3 times positive 1. That could also be negative 3 times negative 1. Either one of them would give you the right positive 3 as a product. Right? So we know that in the end, something's going to be adding up to a negative 7. So if you see that it's a positive number here, then it should be negative. It's going to be a negative times a negative. Well, I really don't need to check. If I did positive times positive, then everything would be positive. So what we don't know is, should it be 2x minus 1 times x minus 3, or should it be 2x minus 3 times x minus 1? And the only way to know is just to FOIL it. I mean, we know if I multiply 2x times x, I get 2x squared. I multiply negative 1 times negative 3, I get positive 3. I need to do the O and the I of FOIL and see if I get negative 7. Like this one here, I would have gotten negative 2x minus 3x, which is how many x's? Negative 5. So that doesn't work. Okay, look at this one. 2x times negative 3 is negative 6x minus 1x, negative 7, there you go. So we're just going to basically be guessing here. That's not a very good 3. Right, so and let me FOIL it, right? 2x squared minus 6x minus x plus 3, which is 2x squared minus 7x plus 3. Right. So this is guess and check. Here, the one thing is for sure is that it's not going to end up being like x plus something times x minus something. You know, just a 1x and a 1x. Because often that's where students want to go. They just want to think like, what are the factors of this number that add up to this number, and then just keep using that same process. But that would not work, right? Okay, so let's try another one. Okay, 3n squared plus 14n minus 5. Again, we're going to be factoring to a binomial times a binomial. Right? What's going to be the first term in those binomials? If they multiply to give us 3n squared. It's got to be 3n times n, right? 3 is a prime number. It only has factors of 1 times 3. So let's say 3n times n. Okay, now we've got to think, what are the factors of negative 5? I mean, 5 is a prime number, right? So it's either negative 5 times 1 or positive 5 times negative 1. That's it. But then we have to think of, well, does the negative 5 go here or does it go here, right? So, I mean, I think we have like 4 possibilities here that we should write out. So let's go like this. 3n and 3n and 3n. Okay, so it's either going to be minus 1 plus 5 plus 5 minus 1, or it could be plus 1 minus 5 or minus 5 plus 1. Right? I mean, there's only 4 possibilities. So now, with all of those, we're going to we know we've got the first term and the last term correct. Right? 3n squared negative 5. Those 2 are good. Now check the middle terms. 3n times 5 is 15n. Minus 1n is 14. So we actually got it on the first one. I should have made us get to that one last. Right? So it's actually, this is going to be the right answer, right? Because this one would have been 3n squared plus 15n minus n minus 5. So that is the one that would have worked. You know, if you check these others, right, this one would have been negative 3n plus 5n, that's 2n. This one would have been negative 15n plus n, that's negative 14n. And this one would have been positive 3n minus 5n, negative 2n. So just guess and check until you find the right one. Yeah. Okay. Three n times n is 3n squared. I'm not quite understanding that. That's this one for here. 3n times negative 1 is negative 3n plus 5n, 2n. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, to me, this is not a very satisfying thing because it's just guessing. I don't like to guess. Yeah. What do you mean, like here? Well, what are the factors of 5? 1 and 5. So we know that we're going to have 1 and 5 plus or minus in these positions in order to multiply and get a negative 5. So we just write down all the possibilities. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It'll always be a binomial times a binomial. So that part is always the same. Okay, let's try. See whether you could figure this one out. right? Start yourself off with 2 parentheses, and you know that the first terms will be 2h and h. See if you could figure out what goes after that. What numbers were you choosing from that had to go second? I mean, they have to multiply to give you -7. 7's a prime number, so it only has 1 and 7, right? But since it's a -7, you don't know like which one's positive and which one's negative. So yeah. Yeah. I think the next example is like that. Okay, so let's see. This one, I think it ended up being what, -1 plus 7? -1 plus 7. Again, this is all about like foiling in your head. 2h times +7 is 14h, -1h, so 14 minus 1 is 13. There you go. Yeah. So in the FOIL process, right? This is the product of the first. This is the product of the last. This is the ONI, combined like terms. Is there more water? Is there more water? I think when Julian comes back. Okay, so let's try another one. Try that one. Now, what's different about this one? 4 is not a prime number. You might have to do a little more guessing. Now, the first number is 3, so you know how you're going to start, right? But it's how you're going to finish, a little more to guess. How about the sign of the numbers? Since everything's positive there, it's all positive. So at least you don't have to check negative. So you're going to start it with a 3t and a t. Okay, so you had to figure out the factors of 4. What are all the factors of 4? 1 and 4 or 2 and 2. So, and let's just say because these are both positive, they're all 3 positive. These are both going to be positive, so we can say that for sure. Okay, so we need to check these possibilities. It could be 3t plus 1 times t plus 4, or it could be 3t plus 4 times t plus 1, or it could be 3t plus 2 times t plus 2. Any one of those would give you the right last term. Which one gives you the right middle term? What's that? No, not necessarily. Today we're doing ones that are kind of more simple, that we have prime numbers. Tomorrow I'm going to teach you a process that doesn't involve guessing, and then maybe the numbers can get a little more complicated. But, so which one of these was correct? The bottom one, right? 3t times 2 is 6t plus 2t, 8t. There you go. Okay, last one. Last slide. To do it like this, let's just say that we know that the last terms are going to be -1 and -5. And now we're going to be guessing on the first term. Should it be 4s and s, 2s and 2s? Who's going to get it? Who's going to be the first to guess it? Yeah, you just wish it was 2s and 2s. It could be 2s and 2s. That would give you 4s squared, right? It could be 4s minus 1 times s minus 5. Or it could be s minus 1 times 4s minus 5. So which one of those three gives you a middle term of negative 9s? The bottom one? S times negative 5 is negative 5s. 4s times negative 1 is negative 4s. There you go.
I could put 4. That's 10 o'clock. Why is that 5?
Okay. So there's only 4 of those homework problems, right? Of that kind of thing. I mean, and again, it's just guessing and checking. Most of them are either prime or few factors. These come from a prior page, and it's like a mid-chapter quiz of adding and subtracting and multiplying polynomials, which that would help you get ready for tomorrow. We'll go over it before we do the quiz. The page 574, not the stuff we did today in class, not even the stuff we did yesterday.